G'day everyone, and welcome to Griffinix Tabletop Miniatures. In this video, I'm going to be building what we reviewed recently, the Brokhyr Thunderkyn for the Leagues of Votann in Warhammer 40K. Now I've already gotten started slightly. Now if I just move the camera and show you what I've done, see these little heads? They're just drying up because I've customized them, because I want to use these instead of the heads that come in this particular set. So I went ahead and looked at my army set for the Leagues of Votann and took some spare heads that I preferred the facial features of. I know it's a bit hard to see on this camera. Let's try getting that to zoom in. You might just see a little bit more detail before that, maybe not now. But anyway, you can see that I've got the mohawks from the Fyreslayers from Age of Sigmar kit. I'm not sure which one. I think these might be the 5-man box set, not the Volkite Berserkers, but the other ones that can be made into a bunch of other different things. But I did take the visor part from the Brokhyr Thunderkyn and put it over the eyes. I just wanted to have a cooler looking beard and stuff on two of them, and yeah, I like to play the rule of cool, so kit bashing and converting is very much in my repertoire. It's not wanting to zoom in on this one. This one's a female face from the Warriors set. Oh, it kind of got it there a bit, but I've got the visor sitting up on this one, and don't know if you noticed, but I've actually got this putty, which is Vallejo plastic putty, just on either side of the head, and as that forms and dries, I'll sculpt that into shape so that it looks like it holds the visor on properly, just like the regular kit heads do, because I have these little notches on the side of the head, basically over where the ears would be. Anyway, that's what I chose, that's what I wanted to have, and so I did that, and hopefully they'll fit in. If not, I might have to trim the back of the mohawks a bit, but yeah, let's see how that goes. Right, so let's get started. Move these down here, and we have to start with which sprue? No, this one. Oh, all the way over there. That's what we're doing. We're going to be cutting that one out first, so let's zoom back out a bit so you can see what I'm doing. Yes, I'm going to be putting quite a few bits from the Fyreslayers on mine, on this army, across the range, so it should look interesting. Now I'm looking for the second part, and I'm not sure if it's on the exact same little bit of sprue here. It might be on one of the other ones, but I do not see it, so let's just sit it down for a second and just check this one. I don't see it there neither. Maybe I'm just going blind. Again, no offense to blind people. I am going nuts. It's up here. No offense to nuts people, I guess. Anyway, it's those two. Number 3. It's this one. So what have people been up to recently? Be nice to know. Please put in the comments below, what armies are you working on? What miniatures have you been building or painting, or what ones perhaps would you like to get? What army would you like to start? All those sorts of things. Be nice to know what other people in the hobby are up to. Really appreciate hearing about all that. If anyone's got any cool conversion ideas that they've either done before or that they're looking at doing, maybe that could be discussed in the comments below. Either way, you'll definitely see quite a few conversions as time goes on this channel. Should you subscribe and hit that notification bell as I pump out content, you'll definitely have an opportunity to see quite a few kit bashes. Now I truly hope this video doesn't go for as long as the build for the Deimos pattern Rhino that some of you may have seen here on the channel. And if it doesn't take too long, I won't bother making a short version, because, you know, if it's a short build, I suppose you don't need 2 versions. Alright, I'll start with this first bit, gluing it on top here. Now some of you might see that Caradron Overlord slash Leagues of Votann looking dude over there. You might notice that he's got a Leagues of Votann thing on, and he's also got parts from a Tau, from the Tau Pathfinder box. I can't remember what you call that drone, but he's got some parts from that on there. Now that was part of one of my initial Demiurge or Demiurge conversions that I was doing years ago. I haven't actually painted him up, so I thought I'd get him out and maybe change a few bits and pieces now that these guys are out, and make him as a special character for the army, even if he can't really be used. It doesn't matter, as long as he looks cool, I guess. Right. Because sometimes I'll even make things that I can't use in games, you know. Sometimes I'll just build stuff because I like the look of it, or I thought, oh, that'll look cool. Because I do play with a group of friends that they like making conversions too, and from time to time, you know, they really don't mind if we play with some experimental rules or some count-as rules, like, you know, we'll use rules for something else, even if it's from another army, just so long as we've got the rules there, you know, handy. And then we can, you know, see how effective they might be if they were a real thing. That can always be fun, just to change it up a bit. These little pieces, always be careful with the smaller parts, don't cut the wrong way or destroy these little bits of piping. Oh, I probably should get the other following part off. Yeah, there's a lot of small, well, I suppose all the parts really for all our miniatures are kind of small, but on these ones, being dwarf-like, they are that little bit smaller. So they require that little bit more finesse. Like if I push too hard on there, I imagine these little bits might break. So just keep that in mind, not to exert too much pressure with your hands. when moving the parts about and preparing them, cleaning them up like I am now, and getting them ready to stick onto a model. Also helps to keep track of what you're cutting off the sprue. That's why I find sometimes cutting off too much can be a problem. But some kits, like the Rhino, it's not so bad. You can cut off a whole bunch of things because it's pretty obvious what they are. What the parts are. They're quite big and noticeable. Whereas these little ones are almost identical, so you might want to be wary of what you're taking off. Now it appears that that goes into there, like so. And just as I did there, dry fitting could be really helpful. Yeah, come on, glue. What are you doing? Is it gone a little blocked? Yeah, there we go. I think I... Yes, I got what was blocking it off. And if it's ever more difficult than that to unblock your glue, your polystyrene cement that is, you can carefully use something like this, a cigarette lighter, just to run along the metal, but don't keep it attached. Obviously take it off and just do this, like, you know, light it and move along under it. Try not to touch the hot end, and then maybe if that doesn't work, like, you know, do the other end, etc. Just be careful. It will be like a little cannon sometimes and try and shoot out little hot bits of glue, molten glue that's in there. So yeah, just be wary, but it works a real treat, and it'll help you get the clogs out. Now I'm just checking to see if that seems to be the ones for the correct sides. Yes, that seems to be right, because they do tend to lean over a little bit towards the body of the model in this case. Or instead of cutting them out and not really looking where you put them, like I did just now, you could specifically put them down in order, like 6 and 7, as they're numbered, and just sit them down in order, and then you'll know exactly which one's which. I was cutting with haste, so I didn't quite do that. But before I do any more, I probably should actually put this on. I really like how that looks. As you can see, like it just... I want to zoom in. There we are. See, it just goes on over the top, connects to these little bits that come up under the arms. Yeah. Very simple. It's going to attach the glue. Like this. And stick it in place. Yeah. Let's move it up a little. Right. Now we need parts 8 and 9. Okay. Well, I suppose we could get 10 and 11. Why not? While we're at it. or in this case now 11 and 10. See, just as I've done here, for instance, I've taken off parts 11 or 10 and 11 and just sat them down on the same side that they're supposed to go on the miniature. That way it's fairly explanatory with this one though, really. They are arms. But just little things like that sometimes, if you're not sure where the part goes, just having the miniature on the desk sort of between where you're putting the parts or sitting the parts before you prepare them to put on the model just helps avoid any mistakes or mishaps you might have or might have had you not done so. Right. I really need some music or something to listen to while I do this, usually. But we don't want to get copyright strikes, so... And I know there's music out there you could listen to that's not going to get copyright strikes, but I'm not necessarily a huge fan of music that I'm not familiar with. Not that I won't ever listen to something new, but yeah, sometimes I'm a bit particular, I'm afraid. And that connects to that part too, doesn't it? Yeah. Put that on there. Maybe a little bit for the foot to sit on. Alright. You don't really want to get too much of that glue on your fingers like I just did then. It is in fact carcinogenic, hence the cancer warning on the bottom. So just be aware that it may be wise for you to wear gloves while doing things like this. You may want to do that. Though I can understand if you don't feel comfortable doing so. I know I just can't feel with my fingers well enough if I'm to do that. So there's one. I can take this. Put it on. I'm not quite sure, but I think that goes up there. Yeah, nice. It really is quite small, but it is so detailed. Look at all the little piping bits there, and the just these, the exo sort of powered bits of the suit that clearly offer the the occupant the ability to pilot and carry the heavy weapons that they probably couldn't do otherwise. Oh, really impressed with this little kit. It's very nice. Well, we're not lining up right. The arm. There we are. Let's get that in there. There we go. Took me to see the other side, just yeah, see it's all lined up. As you can see. Yeah, very nice. And we've got these armoured parts, it appears, and the feet. Or the feet for the suit, anyway. Clearly the kin's feet is clearly attached to the main part of the first piece we cut off the sprue. Yeah, this one. Now some people might want to paint this model before assembly, like before assembling it completely, that is. I don't, because I'm the kind of person that's like, well, unless I'm painting something for, you know, unless I want it to be really, really, really finely detailed, super detailed or something, then I'll just paint it once it's together. Because if there's areas that you can't get to with the brush, for instance, that you probably can't see, then they can be shadowed, I think, and don't necessarily need to be painted to full detailed extent, because naturally they wouldn't be seen anyway. So I think, why not save yourself a little bit of time and a little bit of effort and try to make it look in some ways more natural, I think, as well. And also, why stress yourself out? And, you know, it's always nice to be able to just build the kit and be like, hooray, I've built the model, it looks cool, now I need to paint it. But sometimes, some kits, some parts, you do want to leave off, admittedly. I have done with the Dreadnought over here, which I'm still waiting for another one to turn up, so that I can get the correct parts for the shoulder joints. And then I will spray it and paint the guns separately, and then I'll complete building the guns and attach them. But that's just because there is a bit that you can see and the brush won't be able to get to all that easily at all. But that's not always the case, like I said. And in those cases I think it's perfectly more than reasonable to just leave it how you like. Make it easier. Let me get these out. I'm going to need them. The bases. Rid of that. Alright, now how do we attach these? They just go on here. Okay, it's got a little thing. Does it have like a little insert somewhere, or? Ah, I think it attaches into that little. There's a tiny little bit there, and if you look at the bottom of this little armoured section, there's a tiny little bit. It's not showing up very well, but there is a tiny little bit in the center of that, and I'm sure that's supposed to connect with this little. Yeah, because there's not one on the other side. That's got to be what it is for. So we'll just. I think that's blocked again. Here we are. No, still blocked. Tell me I have to go and get the lighter out again. Off camera before, when I was doing those heads, I had to do that. Hence why I said again that time. Whoops, got the wrong one in my hand. Yeah, I think that goes in there. Yeah. quite well. There we go. That's the shoulder pad attached. Now we've got one for the leg here. That seems to have little grooves in it from the bottom of the knee pad here. So I'm just going to attach glue to this surface. I should just go over that knee partially just there. And let's get that on. Yeah. Yeah. Right. No, that's cool. Now what I might do on this one, because there's a ball joint, is the bottom flat? Oh, it is. Just a little on the rim of that, of those, the rim of those balls. I swear I'm not trying to say weird stuff there. Maybe just a little drop of glue on those little sort of hydraulic looking things. And just glue that in. Nice. Very nice indeed. Now, it does show the miniature being attached to the base, as it would seem perhaps after you've glued the arms on, but just so I have something better to hold on to, I think I will go ahead and attach it to the base now. And when you attach a miniature like this to the base, sometimes it's helpful to think about positioning. You know, well, it's always important to think about positioning, really. Do you want, like, because being mindful that the gun isn't attached yet, when the gun's attached, if we sit it in the middle, it might look a little bit too forward. So what I tend to do helps to ensure with some miniatures too, if you know they might fall over or bend over a bit. What I do is I sit it to the back, and if necessary, just move it a little forward if I think it's a little too far back. So just a little bit closer to halfway, but not quite. And then by the time the gun's on, I think that'll look a lot more even, a lot more centered. Yeah, I think I'll be happy with that. Now we've got options, and as I said in the review, I believe I will be, well, I know that I'll be using these, part 20 here, which is the bolt cannon. So I guess I'll just go ahead and take that part off. It appears to be all one piece, which makes it a little easier, a little less work. Yeah, okay. Now, of course, if you were building this kit, you don't have to choose the bolt cannon. You can choose either of the other two. Forgive me if I don't recall their names off the top of my head. It's a new army, and I haven't fully read the codex. I've skimmed over bits and pieces. I've read lots of the lore, but I haven't really read too much of the rules and stuff. Like, just enough to know how to... I'm probably going to build my dudes, but the names haven't all sunk in yet. I'm sure in time they will. Alright, so that's really simple. Now, what you could do as well, and actually, this might be one of those cases where I don't fully build the model, even though I've put the glue on it. So even at this point, if you've done a similar thing, you can be like, hang on a sec, before I attach them, that glue can dry up. That'll be fine. And I might paint that separately. Yeah, I think I will. I do want it to look really good after all. Yeah, I think I'll do that. And what I'll do is I'll take one of these, even though the plastic putty isn't quite ready. I just want to dry fit this and see if the back of it is going to be too much in the way. Would you look at that? It's not. Now, what do you think of that? Well, it's wobbling around, but I mean, there, you get the idea, don't you? Giving them a little bit more of a dwarfy flair. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Let's put that head in. I'm happy with that. I'm not too worried about leaving the head out so I can paint the detail in here, because again, that's an area that's going to be completely shadowed. So that's a good example of not worrying about it too much and just getting that part of the miniature done, making it look quite cool. Probably a little high for you, sorry. Yeah, it's a good idea. And I'll do the same with the other two. I'll build them in such a way that I keep the gun off. Now I should be able to get through the other two a little quicker, now that I am familiar at least with what we're doing here. I'll take that part of the sprue away, so we don't need that right now. I wasn't sure when I first saw this model, you know, on the website when Games Workshop announced it, whether I liked it or not until I got the codex and had a little bit of a closer look, and I was like, actually, you know, I think it does work and I do like it. It was the only one out of them that I was a little unsure of, but on closer inspection I was like, no, it does look good. I'm just being a bit pedantic, I think. Just worried about, you know, I was just worried that there was too much close together, but especially now I've got the miniature in front of me. It is a bit busy, there is a lot going on, but the detail is crisp, so easy to pick out all the finer points. Sometimes you'll find it ends up being easier to guide yourself to the cutting point if you change perspective of the sprue, turning it around, depending on how the position of the part is, the angles and whatnot. I think I'll cut out a little bit more than I did last time. Be very careful not to do this. Here, you want to cut there. I almost made a big boo-boo. Fortunately, I caught myself. Wouldn't have been that big of a drama anyway, it could have been glued back on. But still, you don't want to stuff up your miniature. You pay good money and you spend good time. You don't want to stuff things up. I think that was all the bits, all the joints. If you find bits like this, you might want to clean them up. Maybe. It's just a mould line. Just cleaning it up. Now there's a few more on here, but I'm not too worried. Some people will be like, oh no, you've got to cut all the mould lines off. I'm not too worried about it. As long as they're not too obvious. Some of them I'll just leave. You can call it laziness. You can call it, well, laziness, I guess. Thing is, I probably call it in some cases a waste of time. That's all. You know, these things are models. They are like toys. They're not toys, but they're like toys. We use them to play games. They don't need to be perfect. Unless we're doing something like perhaps building them as display pieces, which I'm not, so I'm not worried about that. In saying that, that mould line does need to go. That's a bit obvious. The one's down the other side of that arm, and that on the other model I'm not worried about. It's done it again. Don't know what the weather's like in your parts, wherever you are in the world, viewers of the channel. But recently we've had quite a lot of hot weather, and then today and yesterday have been almost chilly. Like, it's meant to be summer here, and we're having almost winter-like weather the last couple of days. So it's very odd, and it's making the glue dry very, very quickly in the end of the thing there. Yeah, that's all clean. That's good enough. A little bit. Just tidy that up. Would have been helpful if I'd cleaned that up properly before putting it together, but anyway, I thought I'd done it, but I hadn't. One of the problems of rushing ahead. Again, just don't be afraid to pop that through. It seems to be that they're reasonably strong, and they do need to pop out a little bit. So you can put a little bit of pressure there to make sure that that part gets into the right position. And just hold it in place. Make sure that it gets a good bond. There we are. Don't know about any of you lot, but I find myself quite often watching A Tale of Four Heresy Wargamers, produced by Arbiter Ian over on his channel, and a bunch of other people involved there. I can't remember all their names, but I really enjoy that content, and if you're a fan of the Horus Heresy in particular, I highly recommend it if you've never come across it before. Or if you have and you just haven't watched it, I recommend watching their series. It's been absolutely brilliant to see their progress, and to see the progress of their Patreons as well. As they tend to show their Patreons' work on their channel. And some people have done some really cool conversions out there, so you know, if you ever wanted some more ideas, it's another good place to check out for sure. from one hobbyist to another. Great resource. Great people. I don't know why that one's not quite going on. This does not want to today. Perhaps. Oh, I thought I had it. No, not quite. Oops. Ah, the backpack maybe is on the wrong angle. There we are. Maybe. Is that it? Is that the problem? Actually, I'm not sure. Why is that not going on? Maybe that's got something to do with it. Let's try that again. See, this way you can see all the mistakes I make, so that you don't have to make them yourself. That does not seem to be going on all that well. Am I making an error? Or is this just a little bit trickier than I thought? Well, that side goes on brilliantly. The heck is happening here for that to not want to go on? See, I can go through these teething troubles so you don't have to. It appears that should just go like that, but it gets in the way of the bit under here. Well, I'll stick this bit over the top, because I think that bit will go on alright. And maybe if we stick that on, we might see what's going wrong. Right. Well, it really doesn't seem like it's... It appears that that arm is in the way. Like, is this on the wrong dude? Are they not all from the one sprue? Have they swapped them around? I think the sides are both the same, though. I don't think that should make much of a difference. You know what? I might just stop that there and see if I can work out what the issue was. Well, I've only been gone for about 30 seconds. And it actually went together very easily. It just required a little bit more pressure that I was clearly hesitant to put on the miniature because I didn't want to damage it. And essentially, I should have just done that. I should have just pushed that tiny bit harder and things would have popped into place. As you can see, the bar at the top is in place as well now. Everything's in alignment there. So I guess I just didn't want a camera between me and the miniature to be able to realise that, should I risk pushing it? And it turns out, yeah, I should have risked pushing it. These things happen. Sometimes you really don't want to push things because you don't want to break things. That fear is always there if it's a little tough, especially on parts this small or components this small. But it turned out to be perfectly fine, and it really just needed a firm hand. I'll just cut off the last bits from the sprue. This one. Yeah. I think I can set that over there now. Apologies, everyone. It's nice and cleaned up. Check. That's it. Let's clean all these up. If anyone's wondering why I didn't do any of the build videos as of yet for the army set, it's quite simple actually. I need a few parts that are coming in an order of minis sometime in the next couple of days. So I can't actually get started on them till those parts come. Otherwise, the kit bash that I plan to do will not be done. Well, it could be, but I mean, then I'd have to wait, and then I don't like stopping and starting with a project. I really like to knock as much out at once as I can. It's just, in my opinion, it's more efficient use of my time. So that's coming. As is some more builds for the Horus Heresy. Maybe a couple more reviews. There's a few kits I still need to get. And then a whole bunch of showcases after that, as well as painting videos. And if anyone would be interested in that, just let me know. It's nice to know what you would like to see. And if you have ideas for other things you'd like to see me work on, build or review, or perhaps even do some sort of kit bash with, again, also put that up in the, or down rather, in the comments. That way I can have some idea of what content my viewers might like. And if you don't, then I guess you'll be stuck with whatever I put up. Let's get that on there. Hey. Come on, you bastard. Excuse my language. this a little bit on. Get in there, right spot, there we are. Some bits you'll find take a little bit more manoeuvring to get quite into the right spot, especially when they're sort of keyed like these are. Find just when they sit perfectly right, it's probably the right spot. Ah, jeez. I'll have to reattach that. Oop. That raised a little. There we are. Yeah, a little bit of glue. There we are. Attach those on. Now I can put a little glue on the feet. Oops. Again. A little bit to the back. Actually, I think I got it in a good spot that time. Don't really need to adjust it much. Yeah. That'll do right for me. Now, I'm pretty sure that's the one I might put the oh, excuse me. I might put the female head on, perhaps. Then again, maybe not. I might leave the female head for the last one, actually. I just prefer the pose on the last one, if anyone's wondering why I'm leaving the female head that I fixed up for the last one. I just think it looks better, and therefore I want her to look cooler. So we don't get too many female options in some of our models. We do more so these days than we used to, which is nice. And I particularly like being able to have female dwarfy sort of looking things. Alright, let's try and cut that back a tiny little bit. And because it's not really going to be seen too much, it doesn't really matter. There, that fits nicely. There we go. See? That's been attached. It's got the mohawk, it's got a little bit of face under there, so if I was able to reach in and paint the moustache just carefully with a very fine detail brush, you would still see something nice. And yeah, you still get the cool visor looking spectacle-y things on there, which I think is rather cool. Let's sit that back there. And yeah, up to the last one now. Now I've got a little thing here that's catching most of these bits of plastic. Just a little tray I have that runs underneath the bottom of the desk. One of these days I'll show you. not today. Perhaps we can make a video for checking out the rest of the hobby setup. But again, like I said, not today. There's a bit of a mess down underneath the desk, so I don't want to move the camera around and show you. I'd be a little embarrassed, to be honest. Alright. There. And a little bit for the chest. Oh, how I forgot to cut that one out. And yeah, maybe legs. Well, the things that support the legs anyway. Exoskeleton armor stuff, I don't know what you call it, but part of the war suit's frame, I guess. Cut those bits off and prepare them. Start with the chest bit, or neck guard, or whatever. Fix these bits up. Again, be careful when using a hobby knife. Don't do as I do, do as I say, and do not cut towards yourself. Given the last one needed a bit of cleanup on here, I guess I'll take these mould lines off. I'll just do it quickly. Don't spend too much time fussing about. Right. Has anyone been following the latest from Games Workshop? Seeing the new miniatures coming? Like what they announced earlier, I'm not sure if it was this week or last week, but they announced the new stuff for Horus Heresy and 40K, and looks like there's some good stuff coming either way, whether you're interested in either of them. Looks like some jet bikes for Horus Heresy. Space Marine jet bikes, which is nice. Better than having the old resin ones. And looks like there's some interesting things coming for 40k. Tau players would be perhaps a little excited that it seems like we're going to have a new model for Farsight, if all the rumours are to be believed, and the silhouette is anything to go by. Yeah, I actually started my Warhammer 40K collection with Tau. So I do prefer Space Marines and stuff. As I got into it, I realised, oh, okay, they're not my favourite, but I have a soft spot for them, so I still have an army of theirs, and I try to keep it up to date. And they are Fireside Enclaves, so I have to admit, I'm looking forward to a new Farsight model. I do have one that I kit bashed a while ago to be a little bit newer and nicer, but I'm sure what they've come up with is probably going to be better than what I did. So I'm very curious to see what it'll look like. And I might just have to get it and review it and showcase it here on the channel. See, I've got plenty of armies, you see, that I've collected over time. Some bigger than others. Like I've got Tau, I've got Imperial Guard, I've got multiple Space Marine armies, Primaris Space Marine army. I've got Tyranids. I've got these Leagues of Votann now too. Got some Necrons somewhere. So I've got a few things. I've got Eldar, Dark Eld, or Eldari, Drukhari, Harlequins. All to be a force for the Inari. So, yeah. You never know what we might showcase next. Well, you might have some idea. But as time goes on, there'll be plenty of things that, you know, as new releases come out that I might have to get to add to various armies. So those who are fans of the other Xenos races and things like that will probably get a few things. I might even get a few of the new Imperial Guard stuff. Although, in the last 12 months I did just kit bash a whole bunch of things that look a little bit like Chris Peach's Venturian Nobles. Completely different colour scheme, but a similar theme of those helmets from the Cities of Sigmar set, or the old Empire Outriders sets. So I'll see what I can do with those. I might have to salvage some of their heads and put them on the newer models. I don't know. We'll see. I do like the new Regal Dawn tank. I don't have one, but I would like one. However, I do wish they hadn't have changed the Sentinel, to be honest. I wouldn't have minded like some sort of upgrade kit for it, to allow it to have some additional bits or options. But, I'm not overly annoyed really that they changed it, but it was a relatively newer version of that plastic kit. I didn't think it needed an upgrade, but you know, they certainly thought it did, so who am I to judge? And it does look good. I'm not going to say it doesn't look good, because I do think it does. And they are a business after all, Games Workshop, so they are going to try and make money where they can. And if they can convince people to rebuy, basically, their Imperial Guard armies, or convince you to start one because they look cooler and have newer models, then that's exactly what they're going to do. As I'll do with all the armies, really, over time. But I just would have thought that maybe Eldar or something would have gotten a little bit more. Eldar and Chaos, perhaps, got a little. I would have thought got a little bit more love before redoing the Imperial Guard, but that's okay. Maybe not okay for the Eldar players or the Chaos players too much. And I know Chaos have got a fair bit of stuff as well recently and over the years, but I mean, they still don't have like Emperor's Children, things of that nature. I know we've got Angron coming and that, so that's brilliant. But yeah, there's still another faction of Chaos that's missing in that sense, and then there's also not really much in the way of Dark Mechanicus, or even not that much in the way of like the Renegade Guard. But that's alright. They've got Cultists and other units you could kit bash with for the time being. Yeah, we can't have everything all at once. There's only so much they can do, and as I'm not sure if you've all heard, but some of them were talking about, they were asking people a while back last year about how people would feel about miniatures going on rotation. And I myself don't like that idea, because I like the idea of being able to get their products all year round whenever I feel the whim to need to get something, you know. Like I don't want their products going on a rotation where I have to think about, oh, this month I can't buy this army stuff because they're not, you know, they're not going to have it in stock and it won't be in stock for another year or another 6 months or 3 months or whatever the situation might be. I think that would be a bit crappy, but the bigger their catalogue gets, the more I fear that is exactly what they're doing and what is going to happen. I've actually been after some Tyrannid models for a while that I haven't been able to get any newer ones of. I wanted the Trigon / Morlock kit and a Harpy, but for the last 3 months or so I have not been able to get one here in Australia. Stock has been out all round, so even the Games Workshop store themselves, like, I mean, I can't even go to them and pay full price and get it, and they don't know when it'll be back in stock. So, well, again, with the rumours pointing to 10th edition coming out, and it being something to do with Space Marines versus Tyranids, part of me fears, you know, they got rid of the newer version of the Plastic Sentinel. Are they going to get rid of the Trigon Morlock and the Harpy? I know the Trigon Morlock is a little old, but I think it's still a great kit. I don't think it needs to be replaced. I need it for a really cool kit bash, which I wanted to show here on the channel. Maybe when it comes back into stock I'll be able to get it and show you all. But until then, might have to wait. Alrighty, we're in the home stretch now. Thank you very much for checking out the video if you have there, and for watching through to this point. It has been a while. Hope you've enjoyed it. Maybe not as much as I have, because I'm actually building the model. But I appreciate your time. Is that just a little... It is. Didn't realise that. I would have cut that off before. I think I've got a couple of those on those ones I'll have to cut off. Oh well, I'll go back over and make sure I do that before I paint anything. Oh dear. That's what I was fearing. One of these days I'll glue them on the wrong way around. Bad. So don't be like me. Make that mistake. Like I said myself here on the channel, this very video. Know where you're putting things so you don't mix them up. So I can make the mistakes and you don't have to. There we go, much better. So that's one thing that's fortunate about making a miniature sort of quickly like this, is that if you do make an error like that, the glue might not have completely set, and you can quickly detach, reattach, and make sure that it's accurately put together then. Alrighty. Nice. I think this time I might actually do the feet first. I might glue them this way this time. Why not? Do things a little different. Yep. I think that's positioned well enough. Where are we going to put that? On the arm, like this. So it goes, really? A little bit more like that. A little bit. No. There. No? Come on. Yes. Like that. So I like that there, but I just make sure there's that little bit of a gap below so the foot doesn't get too close. Anyway, set that over there. Get this head, this custom head, pre-converted, pre-kit bashed head. Get it into place. And that's my lady kin in Thunderkyn. Yeah, she looks really cool. I like that. And she's got a mad mohawk, just like the other two dudes do. And there we have it. That's the complete build of the Brokhyr Thunderkyn for the Leagues of Votann for Warhammer 40K. Now, this has been quite the fun build for me. I really enjoyed putting them together, and the minor little kit bash of putting some Fyreslayer mohawks on there. Yeah, I really think they look nice, and I've put my own little personal touch onto them. And if you're wondering, the guns are just blue tacked on for the moment, just to give you a nice look at what there is. And yeah, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun, and I wonder what you guys think of the kit. What you think of how they look once they're put together, or what you think of my little kit bash. Yeah. Please leave your comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with anyone else who may be interested in, first of all, Leagues of Votann, Warhammer 40K, second of all, or miniature tabletop gaming in general. I thank you very much for your time. Catch you in the next one.